If we can get in, sat down, we'll get going. Again, we'll just kick it all off. Welcome to the 2019 MIAA Football Media Day at the Kauffman Foundation Conference Center in Kansas City. Today's Media Day is presented by Seigfreid, Bingham, Kansas City's full-service law firm of choice for privately held companies. I also want to say thanks to our media here today and our fans at home watching on the MIAA network and Midcoast Sports in northeastern Kansas. Please remember to check out our student-athlete interviews taking place live on the MIAA's Twitter, @the MIAA. And fans watching at home can submit your questions for our coaches and student-athletes. And please use the hashtag AskMIAA. If your question is selected, you will receive a prize from the MIAA. So, again, anyone that does have questions, please raise your hand. A microphone will be brought to you, and please state your name and your media affiliation. All right? So it's now my pleasure to introduce you to Central Missouri, and representing them is Coach Jim Sobota, quarterback Brook Bolles, and linebacker John Embrey. So guys, thanks for being here. Coach, if you have an opening statement, we'd love to hear it.
Sure. Appreciate everybody being here. First of all, it's good to be here. One of the crazy aspects about our game is that we have a 3-month season, then you got to wait 9 more months to see what you got again. And certainly when you go through a tough season like we did last year, that 9 months can't go fast enough. The season can't get here fast enough. So we're excited that time has come again, because I know we got a bunch of hungry guys to show that they're a better football team than what last year exemplified. But through that process, there's some positives that can come out of it for sure. There's some lessons that can illuminate some things about your program, and certainly can provide some motivation for the season coming in terms of developing some toughness and some objectivity about what you need to do to get better as a football team. We know that finding success on the field is a fragile thing, and it's affected by a lot of different things. We were besieged by injuries last year, and a lot of teams are. It's a part of the game, but yet if it happens frequently, it can really change the outcome of a season. Yet that when somebody looks at your win-loss record, that doesn't have an asterisk by it and saying ifs and buts. So, one thing that football does in a dramatic fashion, and that we experienced last year, and typically when you have those kinds of seasons, is that football truly is a game of inches. We had a few games last year that really changed the outcome of a season that could have still, injuries notwithstanding, still could have been a very solid season. In that we had the football at the end of 3 of those games with the ball in our hand with an opportunity to score or tie the game, and didn't come through. And those kinds of things take a toll on the psyche of your team, especially if you have a young team. But through tough times, there can be a silver lining in terms of those players not wanting to end up in the same spot. So you definitely, in our situation, don't take anything for granted. My sense with the group that we have coming back is they are not taking anything for granted. They're eager to prove that they're much better than what last year indicated for them. But they're young, talented for sure, but young. Have some experience. One positive that comes from injuries sometimes is that you have a lot of players that end up playing maybe a little bit before their time, so they get put to the fire right away, but that can develop some toughness as well. But our focus has really been, realizing that we're a work in progress, and that, really at the end of the season is when you evaluate kind of what you've done and what you've accomplished. But, so we're encouraging our players to extend their reach, to challenge with their idea what hard work means and commitment. I've seen them do that. We want to continue to do that. We want to not get comfortable in any way. We want to keep our aspirations high with the program. we went 8 years and had 5 postseason appearances in those 8 years, and then when you go through something like that, it can kind of rock you. But I haven't sensed anything but hunger out of our players and our coaching staff, and we have the ingredients to field an outstanding football team. Just it's going to be kind of how it comes together. Offensively, we have quite a bit of experience, of course, with Brook back after leading the nation in total offense as a junior. Is your starting point, not only with your offense, but with your football team. But skill-wise, Shea Wyatt, one of our receivers, was among the leaders in the league. He was a redshirt freshman last year. Our 2 running backs have been both among the league leaders and have gotten honors within the MIAA. Our tight end, Zach Davidson, is a force at the tight end spot. And we have 4 offensive linemen that have some starting experience, led by Jake Heckler, our center. So lots of things to build from on offense. Again, just from what we've ascertained with their work with each other this summer, player-to-player relationship has really developed, and they've developed confidence in each other and level of accountability in each other. Defensively, clearly is where we've had some scar tissue after last year. And we need to try to get our defense back in the top half of the league statistically. But again, with those struggles and those injuries, it allowed us to get a lot of players on the field. The truth of the matter is last year as a football team, we played 7 true freshmen, which is more freshmen than the previous 8 years put together. And when you're putting that many young guys, that inexperienced number of guys on the field in the MIAA, it usually doesn't spell out to a lot of success. But we have a new defensive coordinator named B.J. Campbell, who I'm very excited about, and he's already infused a good level of enthusiasm and confidence in our player. And we have some outstanding returning players, too, led by John Embrey, our starting inside linebacker and captain, Cody Bell, the safety for us, and Zach Ashman on the defensive line. So kicking game-wise, Zach Davidson, who is clearly one of the best punters in the country, is back. Our long snapper, Trey Staten, is back. Overall, we're a young and experienced team, talented, but a work in progress, which we're excited to get going.
Thank you, Coach. At this point in time, let's open up the floor for questions for any of the players specifically.
John Dykstra, Maryville Forum. Brook, just what's it like being back this year, and take us through your off season a little bit, and what kind of went into recovering from your injury, obviously, and what you're looking forward to this year.
Like you said, coming back from the injury, just kind of getting back into the swing of things, feeling really good. Recovery was a little slow at first. We were kind of deciding between the whole, surgery, no surgery, seeing which one played out better. Went with the no surgery, feeling great, ready to go.
One thing that helped Brook was that we got an exemption by the NCAA for him to participate in spring ball, so he was able to do that and made a big difference in terms of his recovery.
Brook, was there anything you learned about yourself or the offense watching it from afar, watching it from the sideline, and taking on almost more of a coaching role than being in the offense?
I think what really helped me the most is just it helped my mental game a lot. So, it's helped me read defenses, read coverages better. And it also just got me, like Coach said, I got to do spring ball this year, so kind of helped out with those younger receivers, that younger receiving core and stuff like that. So it kind of helped me kind of become a better leader from that aspect as well.
Coach, how have you seen that hunger manifest in this team?
Well, it really starts in the off season and just the body language of the players, the actual language with the players, the fact that led by these 2 guys and some of the other leaders on the team that I appointed, really not only still maintaining high aspirations, but really understanding what it's going to take to achieve those, and so it was a very competitive off-season. We did a few different things early in the off-season. I think that paid dividends and overall created more leadership opportunities on the team, which we needed to emerge, and saw that emerge as well.
Coach Andrew Wegley from the Northwest Missourian. Coach Beck talked about it, and Commissioner Racy opening the possibility of opening the schedule up in a couple of years to non-conference play. Is that something you would want to see for the MIAA?
I think there's some challenges doing it. My stance in terms of the postseason aspect of it, right now we are in a region that has 4 conferences. The likelihood of anybody getting 3 teams from a conference is not very good. So my stance would be to create more postseason opportunities, to find ways to expand the field. We face some challenges relative to the cost that the NCAA incurred with flights and so forth. They're looking at doing some rearranging for the first round games. That could be a cost-saving measure. But it becomes difficult, especially for the upper echelon teams in the league, to schedule games, because everybody's looking to have some early success in their schedule. And so the teams that have typically finished in the top half of the MIAA are not very attractive opponents, candidates for some of these other schools. So I think there's some challenges in it. One of the tough things about playing a closed schedule like we do is you never get to demonstrate in a given year that your conference is any better than anybody else's. So that would allow you some opportunities to do that, but considering how the playoff format is right now, that still would not probably present us an opportunity to get another team in the playoffs just because one of our teams beat a team from another league. So I think there's some things that need to. I think it's a work in progress, and there's some things that need to be looked at a little bit more closely. The convenience of not having to worry about a schedule is nice. If you start taking games out, then you could possibly face a situation where there's uneven scheduling. You don't have to play every team in the league. That presents some issues in terms of declaring who the champion is in the league and so forth. So overall, I like what we've had, even though there's been 3 or 4 or 5 seasons where we've had the toughest early part of the schedule just because of the draw, but that's, you got to play everybody eventually anyway.
John, Coach mentioned that B.J. Campbell comes in as the new DC. In the meeting room, not just on the practice field, because he mentioned the energy he brings, but in the meeting room, how is he different from the previous coach?
Coach Campbell is he's very good at explaining. He's very detail-oriented. He's very precise and knows exactly what he wants from us, so it makes it clear what we need to do on and off the field. He's got a lot of energy, and sometimes it's a little scary how much he can bring into a meeting room. But he's instilling a lot of good characteristics in us as what he wants in the defense, and it's looking really promising for this next year.
Brook, with a couple talented running backs coming back next year, just how much has that helped as you're kind of easing yourself back into it, and how much pressure do they kind of take off of you as the quarterback?
I mean, you look at the statistics from those guys and the things that they can just do with any run play. I mean, they can get stuffed in the backfield at 2 yards and still make it a 10-yard gain just by making one guy miss. So, I mean, they definitely take the load off a little bit, kind of definitely getting back into spring ball and stuff, kind of getting back into that routine of, going every play and every drive. They definitely took the weight off a little bit and made it a little bit easier. And I think what makes it so much easier is just they have a lot of knowledge about the game, and they pride themselves on not only being great runners and great running backs out of the backfield catching the ball, but they're really good at blocking, and they keep that as a high standard for them as well.
John, it's a new defensive scheme for the Mules. What's it like for all the young guys to be able to adjust to Coach Campbell? And what's the excitement level?
With the young guys, I think they kind of have an upper hand compared to some of the older guys because we've been through a few different changes, a few adjustments through the years. But they only have the one. It's nice to be on the same page with Coach Campbell. He's he's insanely smart. He knows exactly what he wants from us. It's going to be an exciting season. We've got a lot of new stuff coming in, and it looks like a lot for us now, but everybody's on the same page and everybody's ready to get going.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, Coach, Brooke, Josh, thanks for everything, and we appreciate you guys coming here and speaking with us.
Thank you. Thank everybody.
Yeah, good luck in the season.